What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Thursday night live stream here on Drums and Drams. Very excited about tonight. I've got some killer whiskeys that I'm going to be tasting this evening. And honestly, I need it. Another one of those days, another one of those weeks. Thursday night rolls around, and I am ready to taste some whiskey and hang out with all of you, do a giveaway, all that kind of good stuff. And you can see a couple of the bottles that I've got out right now. Some of the other ones are over here, but it's some really good stuff this evening. And I'm really looking forward to it. So let's have a good night. Let's have a couple of sips. Hopefully you guys are pouring something as long as you're not still in the midst of dry January. If you're doing that, I'm sorry. Maybe you should just turn this off and go concentrate for the next 4 days and get through the rest of that. But for those of you who are partaking tonight, have something good. Pour a little finished whiskey to kind of fit the theme this evening. So I've got a couple of things I want to cover here at the beginning of the stream. I got my phone in front of me so I don't forget, and then we're going to get right to these tastings. And I'm going to be curious to hear if any of you have tried any of the whiskeys that I go through this evening, what you think of them, and who knows where the night will take us, in terms of tasting this or tasting that. But as you guys can see, the theme based on the thumbnail and all the description and stuff is finished whiskey this evening. All right. So let me say hello to a couple of people in the chat here. Preemptively, I've got to continue to remember to remind you guys, but preemptively, I'm going to say, please hit that like button. Let's get some more people hanging out this evening. There's some other stuff going on at 9:00. Like Time Whiskey. Grease is doing a Q&A on Zoom for people going to Whiskey Weekend. So, got to get as many people in here as possible this evening. So, Top Dog, what's up? Checking in early. Won't be able to make it tonight. Cheers all. Gonna miss you, Top Dog, but cheers to you, and cheers everybody else. This is my first sip of whiskey for the evening. It is a little bit of the Midwinter Night's Dram Act 9 Scene 4. I got to have a sip before I keep going. Cheers, guys. Oh, that stuff's so good. What is up, Unipoke? I see Aiden is in the house as well. We got David Babcock hanging out. Who else? Paul M. Cheers. Good to see you. Let's see. David says, forgot to grab a blended. He's drinking Angel's Envy. Maybe you meant finished. Oh, dude, what is up? Trev Wilson in the house with a brand new studio. The room looks great. I saw I don't know if it was last week or something. The shelves separated. You've got the logo in the background. It all looks sharp, man. So that's awesome. And I know it's not easy to put stuff like that together. It's so freaking annoying. So congrats on the new setup, man. JG, what's up? Let's see. David says, I found a Burnside, Oregon, oaked Quercus Gariana finished. I don't know what all that means. Amy, what's up? Good to see you, Amy. And Amy, no pressure. I can keep track of the giveaway stuff this evening, but let me know if you're up for it or if anybody else in the chat is up for keeping tabs on the giveaway stuff once we get that rolling here. Once I talk about it, let me know. But again, I'm happy to do it. It's not too bad. I've got my Word document up just in case. All right, David Bass, Nick Woods. Cheers from the Ogre Lounge in Milwaukee, Oregon. Cheers. Roy R., good evening, everybody. Good to see you, Roy. And Keith, I knew Keith was going to come in hot with this. The wrench is here. This is when the stream starts to go off the rails. Cheers, Jared. Amy's got the giveaway stuff covered. Thank you, Amy. All right. All caught up in the chat. Trev says, dude, I thought I bought everything I needed. Now I still need more. I know we talked about the daunting task when you renovated. It's a nightmare. Yeah. Every time I got a lot of my stuff ahead of time. The stuff that bothered me were the lights back there, which I'm still not so crazy about. I've been shooting stuff like with them turned off because it's a little distracting how bright they are. And I can't change the brightness. But yeah, a couple things you find out that you need once you start doing it. And it's a money pit, man. It's a money pit to do a renovation like that. All right, so let's talk giveaway real quick before I forget. Okay, and I'll remind probably every 20 to 30 minutes on the stream as we go this evening about the giveaway. We're going to be doing a flight of finished whiskeys for tonight's giveaway. And I guess we have to talk about the whiskeys we're going to taste right now so I can tell you what's going to be in that flight, okay? So let's start off with two absolute bangers that I'm finally going to crack open this evening. I'm impatient, okay? I know a couple weeks ago someone was like, save that for your anniversary. I was like, yeah, we're going to do that. That's in 7 months. So 7 months from yesterday. So we're going to be cracking open these old school Bardstown Bourbon Company bottles. The old collaboration series, the Muscat Mistel, and the Brandy Finish is the other one. These are, I believe, finished MGP. They are 10 years old. They're at cask strength. So we're cracking those open. The giveaway is going to have 1 ounce of each of those in the sample flight. The giveaway will also have 1 ounce of each of these cigar blends. I managed to snag another one of these. And this is batch 61. And then already open, I had batch 58, which is that Darth Vader batch that everybody's hyping up. So I'm going to be cracking batch 61 tonight for a little head-to-head comparison. These two will also go into the sample flight giveaway, which, again, cigar blend is like my favorite semi-affordable special bourbon that I wish I could drink every day. The other stuff that'll go in the giveaway, I am going to taste this tonight. It's not finished, but I haven't even tasted it yet. It's the Mash and Journey Brain Candy Obtainium 26-year Canadian whiskey, 156.4 proof. You know, you can take paint off with this. I'm going to taste that this evening. That'll go in the giveaway flight. So will the Midwinter Nights Dram. And then over here, the last two things, it is a flight of 8 1-ounce pours. The last two, which we will be tasting tonight as well, batch 2 and batch 3 of the Penelope Rosé Cask Finish. All right, so it's an epic flight giveaway. Some of these bottles, these Bardstown bottles, are very hard to find and very expensive, and I got really lucky that I was able to pick them up, and I'm excited to share them for tonight's giveaway. So that's what we're doing, and, you know, if we get a bunch of entries, I'll do a second flight. You know, I'll do a second flight. Heck, I don't know, Chateau de la Baude. I'll throw some other great finished whiskeys in there as well. So that's the plan for this evening for the giveaway, an epic finished whiskey flight. And let me go ahead and let me put the giveaway kind of banner up here so it's rolling. There we go. Good stuff. Okay, so cheers to that, guys. Every $5 super chat gets you 1 entry into the giveaway. Standard stuff. Amy's going to be awesome and keep track of those giveaways. And that's that. So Keith Schmidt's kicking us off here. What cigar blend batches do you have? So yeah, 58 and 61. The batch, like starting with batch 60, I think, with the cigar blends when I was reading, she did this like 12 Days of Christmas theme with the namings. And like it's cute. You know what I mean? Like it's cool and thematic, but it doesn't tell you like much about the whiskeys. Obviously the description does, but the titles are just kind of titles at that point. But yeah, 58 and 61. Trev, I'm sure they are delicious, but I hate those friggin' bottles. 2 square. Yeah, I know. I haven't. When we crack them open, I'm sure I'm gonna pour them all over the place trying to hit the glass. What's up, Matt? The Muscat Mistel is wild. Which one is that? Is that this one? Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't even know what that stuff is. If someone in the chat wants to look that up and let me know and everybody else know what Muscat, even how to say it. Is it Muscat Mistel? Let me know what that stuff is. I'd be very curious to know. I didn't look it up before the stream started. Jeff Perkins. Oh, you got a batch 69. Amen. Yeah, Trev, we do not deserve Amy. I know. I got to send Amy something else now. Last time it was a Sagamore rye, and I think I got her into Sagamore with that one, or maybe into rye, one of the two. And so I gotta send Amy something else. Maybe Penelope Rosé. Amy, have you ever had a Penelope Rosé finish? I'm gonna try batch 3 tonight, which I have an extra of, and see how that one tastes. Muscat is a grape varietal, a very, very sweet grape. Interesting. Okay, cool. Trev sent Amy Malort. That's funny. What's up, Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans? All right, guys. So real quick, the things we're going to start with for tonight's tasting, we're going to start nice and easy with the Penelope Rosé cask finishes. I just want to kind of ease into this evening. All right. These are 94 proof each, and that'll be a good segue to get into the Bardstown bottles because the Mistel finish is also, I believe, 94 proof. All right. Yeah. So that'll be a good segue there. We'll start with the Penelopes because I'm really hot on what Penelope's doing right now. Seal Box just sold out of the Rosé batch 3 very quickly. I love the batch 2, so I'm curious to see what the extra age on batch 3 is going to do. Oh, Amy, come on. I got to get you something. I really appreciate you always hooking it up on the super chat. So, new bottle pickups. I want to real quick. One of those new bottles is the Triple Down Light Whiskey from Backbone. This is a Bourbon Finds pick. And guys, I don't know much about Bourbon Finds. I somehow am in that single barrel club, but I don't know who does Bourbon Finds. I don't know anybody involved, but the picks are great. I mean, like really, really good picks. So if you get the opportunity to get into the Bourbon Finds single barrel program, I don't even know how I did, or find one of those bottles like locally trading around, they're all good. And the bullet pick was the best bullet pick I've ever had. The Nulu Honey Rye Hulk bottle that they did, a honey finished rye from Nulu, fantastic. And so this is the newest pickup, the light whiskey that Bourbon Finds did. Again, I mentioned the Magnus Cigar Blend batch 61, the new Penelope, all that kind of good stuff. Next week, no live stream, unfortunately. I've got a rehearsal for an opera that night. Is what it is. And that's it. So let's get to it. Let's taste some freaking finished whiskeys. I got to move the Midwinter Night's Dram out of the way. I got to tell you, I never used to like Midwinter Night's Dram. It wasn't for me. And now it's just like, it's like mulled wine and gingerbread and a little bit of like lemon cake in a glass. It's so good. So really digging that stuff. Okay, let me get some glasses here. Let's get into some rosé. Okay. All right, so batch 2, we'll put over on this side. And again, I love the glass toppers on the rosé cask finish from Penelope. I don't love it on all bottles, but like for this, it really makes a lot of sense. So I'm down for that. Okie doke. Let's see. Get this out of the way. Let's make a little bit of room on the table. Okay. Great. Let's get into it here. Whatever, Beethoven. Come on, Trev. Actually, Trev, I had a piece written for me recently for a drum set soloist and marimba quartet, kind of playing the accompaniment, and it's a metal piece. It's called Metal for Pieces of Wood. It's a little play on words, so it's like double bass and blast beat drum set stuff in like a concert percussion context with marimbas. I'm premiering that piece in Memphis, actually, which actually I think is pretty close to you, Trev. I'm playing that in Memphis in April. So, you know, maybe I can jump over to where you are because I think you're close. Okay, Trev, so I'm getting into that right now. The new rosé. Oh, you mean the actual bottle itself? So I actually like the old bottle a little bit better. I like the look of the old bottle with the white label. I think the white label does a little bit more for it than this, although this is obviously the barrel strength bottle, the way that it looks with the kind of flower decal and you can see right through it. That's great, but I like the differentiation actually of that being the barrel strength bottle, whereas this had the solid white label. I kind of like the white label, but you know, Penelope seems to be going towards this for everything with the colored bands, the colored tack strip. They did that with the new Founders Reserve Light Whiskey, which I'm trying to get a bottle of. So, you know, either way, you can't go wrong. Penelope looks so good on a shelf that it's awesome. Oh, Trev, man, yeah, it's going to be at a university. It's a percussion festival at the University of Memphis that I'm going to be playing at. So I don't know if I'm playing like a full show or if I'm just playing this one piece with their ensemble and teaching throughout the day. But, dude, it'd be great to hook up. It'd be great to see you. DC, I'm going to get to that in a second. All right, guys. So both of these 94 proof Penelope Rosé Batch 2 says that it is aged more than 24 months. Okay, so not an exact age, but more than 24 months. So let's taste this on the palate. Yeah. Man, it is a little young and kind of floral, kind of like that young floral grain quality. I mean, you get that from every Penelope bottle because it is also young, but it's done in a really good way. But strawberry, like strawberry shortcake or strawberry cheesecake, white chocolate, like these are the kind of notes that you get on the Rosé Batch 2. Yeah. To me, like the white chocolate is what really makes this delicious. And of course, like vanilla. Oh, wow. What do they say about it? Candied vanilla, caramel, hints of strawberry, flowers, okay, floral, and sweet citrus. Okay, sweet citrus. I guess I could see that. It's a little tart. But I've tasted this before. I've reviewed this before, but I just want to taste it right now and kind of use it to set up batch 3 for this comparison to see if this is getting better, you know, what extra age is doing to the rosé finish. So anyways, one more sip of batch 2. Trev says, definitely like the old look better. The new one looks dang near identical to the cask, just a different shade of red. I don't know. I think the rose-colored pea on the white makes it pop great. I know, man. Me too. The one bad thing, Trev, about this, because it's a white label, is like, I think you can kind of see this. It stains so easily after you pour it. And if you suck and you let it run down the bottle, it just stains the crap out of the label. So, you know, that's the one thing. But talk about class on this bottle. It just looks so freaking classy. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I gotta rewind here. Guys, hit that like button if you're just now jumping in. I've got to rewind here and go to DC's comment. So for those of you who are Facebook friends with me, I posted a picture from 12 years ago, a couple days ago, and I had like the full Justin Bieber hair. And I was like in my all black with my black tie and my sleeves rolled up, ready to play a jazz band concert. That's where I was going. That's a picture in my parents' house. Trev, Midwinter Night Act 7 is blah. Act 9 is simply Angel Tears. So yeah, it must depend on the batch. Batch 8 to me was just fine. Batch 9 is incredible. Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Before I get back into the chat here. All right, so batch 2, well established. Let's go to batch 3 now. Huh. Interesting. Wow. So this seems to be the theme with all of Penelope's bourbon right now, which is that as it all gets older, this is not like revolutionary what I'm trying to say. As it gets older, it starts to round out more, right? As you would expect. But to me, kind of the signature of what Penelope does, whether it's their barrel proof stuff or, these rosé finishes, the signature of it is the youth. Because when you have that youth, you can taste the grain notes so clearly. And when you have a whiskey where the grain quality or the way that grain, that white dog has interacted with the barrel is not good, then when you taste that, you think, oh, it's young, it's grainy, I don't like it. That's most whiskeys that are young, that aren't, that just need more time in the barrel. Whereas with Penelope, I've always tasted that grain note and said, wow, that's like of a particular quality. And it lends itself to the flavor profile. It lends itself to vanilla, to brighter fruits, to peppery kind of notes, to a floral quality. It's not pretending to be something it's not. It's not trying to be rich and heavy. It's trying to be kind of decadent and sweet and delicate. And so as these whiskeys get older, they actually lose what I've come to know as like the signature quality of Penelope. Now, it's not in a bad way, but for instance, here with these rosé finishes, as I go to batch 3, it's much more tame on the nose. Like batch 2, they're both 94 proof. Batch 2, because of the youth, it smells like it's 100, 105 proof on the nose. It kind of jumps out of the glass a little bit more, whereas batch 3 is just reserved and relaxed. Now, batch 3 has a lot of additional fruit in here, a lot of extra sweetness and a lot of extra fruit, which I think most people, including me, are going to enjoy that fact. I haven't tasted it yet, but just on the nose, you're getting that. But you're just getting less floral, less pepper, less spice on the nose here. What's up, Jeffrey Wack? What's up, man? I missed the bottle with your face on it. What was it? It was the Bull Run. I missed the Bull Run, man. So, what a crazy good deal, though. Like $50 for that whiskey is amazing. So, and then the Westland, I was like up in the air about because I haven't been drinking a lot of malt, recently, and $100 for an American single malt, which is a great deal, and I'm sure it's a unique whiskey. It's just like I don't know if I have the $100 right now. So, to do something like that. What's up, Dan Like? Cheers, man. All right, I'm going to taste batch 3 of Penelope. Wow. Yeah. That is way, way heavier on the palate and just round. It's so good. Like the rosé finish adds something to Penelope that just complements the base bourbon so well. And I think it's like an interesting choice that they went with the rosé cask finish. They're going for a particular audience with that. They're going for particular audience with the bottles and the marketing of the whole company. All of that fits hand in hand. But on the flip side of it, the whiskey itself fits hand in hand with the rosé finish. So I think it would be cool to see other companies trying the rosé finish on some of their stuff. But, you know, it's got to be a particular kind of whiskey at that point, I think. You know, I don't think it can be 12-year-old Heaven Hill or anything like that. That's not going to work. The rosé is just probably not going to do enough to it. But who knows? Wow, I'm going to go back to this and do a final comparison here. But I really like batch 3. David Babcock, you had me at 2 cigar blends. Thanks for the super chat, man. Yeah. So guys, tonight's giveaway is going to be 8 1-ounce samples of stuff I'm drinking tonight. The 2 Penelope Rosé batches, both of these super old school Bardstown batches, 2 different batches of cigar blend, 58 and 61, and then Midwinter Night's Dram Act 9, and then freaking 26-year-old mega hazmat whiskey, Canadian whiskey from the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. That's the giveaway this evening. So get in, and if we get enough entries, I'll do a second flight of amazing finished whiskeys as well. Paul Graham, man, $20 super chat. Thank you, Paul. Your package should be going out tomorrow, as well as Keith Schmidt. I owe you guys both giveaway stuff from Patreon and from live streams. So, Paul, I'm throwing some cool samples in yours. I hope it's stuff you haven't tried. But thanks for the super chat, man. 4 entries. Awesome. All right, let's do a final side-by-side of batch 2 and 3. Yeah, batch 2 is freaking strawberry cheesecake. It really is. And batch 3, I don't even know what I would call batch 3. It's like 3 different kinds of dessert wrapped into one. Regardless, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these Penelope Rosé finishes. If you like a lighter profile, $60. It's so unique. 94 proof sounds like it's not enough. It is enough. It really is. I mean, fantastic whiskey. So final sip of batch 3. Wow. That's the perfect combination of sweet and tart without any of the young spice quality of batch 2. To me, Penelope had a breaking point in their barrel proof line when they went from batch 6 to batch 7. It was like a distinct profile shift. 6, again, were those young notes, crazy amount of barrel char, kind of an interesting combination. Batch 7 rounded everything out. From batch 2 to 3 here, it's the same exact kind of comparison where it just feels like there was a fundamental shift in what they were going for. And it's worth noting that batch 2, 24 months at least on the label is what it says. Batch 3 says 47 months. So it could be up to 2 years older, or sorry, twice as old and 2 years older than batch 2. All right. So good stuff either way. And those are going to go into the giveaway this evening. All right. Batch 2. Let me clean up just a bit. Batch 2 and 3. Okay. Great. Trev says, I can't wait to have Wax staring at me all the time. That was an awesome design. DC, have you done any Lord of the Rings pieces or fantasy style pieces? Yeah, I've definitely played some of the Lord of the Rings. He has like, not Howard Shore, but I can't remember who wrote it. But there are some different pieces like arranged for band. I've definitely played like medleys and mashups of that kind of stuff. I don't think that the Lord of the Rings movies do the thing where they have the live orchestra playing to the movie. I don't think. I've played Harry Potter movies, with the actual movie on the screen above the orchestra. We're doing one of those. We're doing Order of the Phoenix in March. I've done like Indiana Jones, like the Star Wars, but I don't know if Lord of the Rings does that. Yeah. Just made a bot, sug it, says Trev. Aiden says, one of the best parts of 2021 was seeing a lot of small companies come into their own. Absolutely. Penelope is my number one, I would say, small company that just like took over and everybody was talking about them. It's got to be Penelope, I think. Jay says, I'm sure Cam is into Dungeons and Dragons. I've actually never played Dungeons and Dragons, although as a kid 2 years ago, I'm kidding. It's been probably 15 years. I used to play RuneScape. RuneScape was my game of choice. My friends played World of Warcraft. I was playing RuneScape. Oh, and Sagamore, but they're probably on the larger side of things compared to Penelope, I would think. Okay. Let's do these epic bottles here. I am so excited for this. So, I wasn't sure I was going to open these, but here we are. Alphonse says, Starlight is doing great finishes. Yes, they are. I am a big Starlight fan. It's a little oversaturated on what they're doing, but the fact that their supply can more or less meet demand is actually, it kind of differentiates them from other people in the market who, when they do a honey finish like Belle Meade, granted it's much older whiskey, people are paying, $800 on secondary, and for Starlight, they're just cranking those things out, which is good and bad. Trev's playing RuneScape? No way, dude. No way. Get out of here. If you are, that's hilarious. I haven't played that game in a long, long time, man. I gotta grab my pocket knife. Where did I put it? There it is. All right. We got some tack strips to cut here. Okay, so the way these are made, it just has this one little strip in the back. And I know I'm going to cut this and I'm not going to like how I cut it and it's going to make me sad. But it is what it is, okay? So, let's see. Yeah, that didn't go how I wanted it to go. Let's try the other one. Let's see if the other one's any better. That was a little bit better. Yeah, this purple one, this is a shit show. That does not look good. Oof, the cork's making me nervous. No, I don't like this. Okay. It remained intact. Oh my God, that smells wild. So this is is this the Mistel finish? Yeah, Muscat Mistel. That smells crazy. And now we're going to crack open the brandy finish. Nice. Man, they made the caps even heavier back in 2017. Oh my gosh. Wow. I am excited to try these. So guys, hit that like button if you're just now jumping in. We just kind of had an influx of people. Maybe they saw these things pop up on the screen as they scrolled by. Hit that like button. The giveaway scrolling down there tonight, 1 ounce of 8 different incredible finished whiskeys, including 2 different batches of Cigar blend. Both of these Bardstown bottles, 1 ounce of each of those in that. Midwinter Night's Dram, some epic old Canadian whiskey, 26 years old, and 2 batches of Penelope Rosé Cask finish. So get those super chats in. We're going to draw for that around 10 p.m. or so this evening. Here we go. All right. I'm going to try to pour the brandy finish first. Okay. And now the Mistel. Yeah. Wow. That is hazy. Like, not in a bad way, not in like a cloudy whiskey way, but wild. Yeah, the brandy is crystal clear, but the Mistel finish is really, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. And it could be because maybe the casks were really wet that they finished this in. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hope this whiskey's still okay. Very hazy. Anyways, let me cork these up. with these freaking hockey pucks. Oh my God. Wow. Aiden. Aiden is saying Muscat is a sweet floral grape. It makes Moscato wine, which is based. Okay, so this is Moscato, essentially. That makes sense because that smells crazy sweet. Amy, crazy giveaway tonight of 8 1-ounce samples of the stuff Cam's drinking tonight. Every $5 super chat is an entry. Thank you, Amy. If only they didn't use a friggin' square bottle. Oh, 2 for Trev, says Amy, because he's the wrenchiest wrench. Thanks, Amy. Cheers to that. What's up, JS? Wow. All right. So let's start with the Mistel finish, Muscat Mistel. 94 proof. I have to 10 years old. I have to assume that it's MGP. And there's no other real information here about finishing time on the bottle. Okay. Let's check this out on the nose. Wow. So there's a lot of honey in this, and also a lot of, as you would expect, like Aiden's been kind of talking about, just real sweet grape notes, but not like a cognac grape. You know, it sometimes, like if you use like a young cognac cask to finish whiskey, you get this kind of tart, almost skunky type profile. Yeah, you're not getting that here. Very sweet. Tons of vanilla cream in here as well. I'm going to go to the palate here and then come back to the nose and see what else I can find. So cheers. Whoa. Wow. So that's crazy. That is a crazy whiskey. I can understand now why people want Bardstown to do this finish again. They did one in the new bottles, in like the current day Discovery shape bottles. They did a Muscat Mistel finish there too, but I think there was a toasted oak. I think they did like a toasted barrel along the way with it. So there might have been a double finish or something like that. But either way, I can see why people love this finish so much. It is the grapiest whiskey I've ever tasted, and it's not overbearing. Like it is really sweet. You know, you've got to like sweet whiskey, but the way that the dark fruit notes of the MGP base whiskey here interact with that finish, it's just like that finishing cask brings out all of the sweetness of those dark notes and then adds kind of this candied layer to it. And when I'm talking candy, people say Stag Junior tastes like candy, and it does. You know, batch 15 has like kind of that strawberry candy thing going on. That's like whiskey that tastes like candy. That's whiskey that tastes like candy in the context of whiskey. This is whiskey that tastes like candy, like it's candy. Like it actually just tastes like flat grape soda almost. Holy shit, that's crazy. Matt says, told you. Okay, yeah, you did. Dude, this is a wild whiskey. Wow, I'm so glad I opened this bottle. It tastes like something that is so familiar to me, and it's going to come to me later. I don't know if it's an hour later, actually. Could be an hour later. It's such a familiar taste. And if there's any whiskey I think that could compete with Chateau de la Baude in how well the finish is done, not necessarily in proof, because this is such a lower proof, But just in terms of how the finishing and the whiskey kind of come together, this is probably the closest to that I've had, I would have to say. All right, so we got a little back and forth here with Trev and Amy. 2 for Amy because she's an angel amongst men. Also, I refuse to play for free. So, Amy, give yourself 2 entries. Dang it, says Trev. So, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot says, so this is like seagrass. Not exactly. Seagrass, to me, when I'm talking candy sweet, it has the candy sweetness. But seagrass tastes like fake sugar. It tastes like fake sweetener to me. A lot of barrel finishing tastes that way. Dovetail, Armida, they all have this kind of almost like Splenda or aspartame, you know, this weird thing going on, that sucralose kind of sugar. This tastes like real ass candy sugar sweet, you know? Aiden, cognac is typically made from Uni Blanc, which is crisp, tart, fruity, and slightly bitter herbal to balance the barrel influence. Yes, I knew this offhand, and yes, I'm a dork. Yeah, whenever I hear someone talking about Uni Blanc and all that in terms of whiskey, it's always Nancy Fraley and Baco talking about, you know, Armagnac and Armagnac finishes. So JG says grape double bubble. It's a little more rich and fruity than that. It's not, that's kind of surface level sweet. This is like heavy sweet. Yeah. So that's amazing whiskey. All right. Next up, I'll come back to that because oftentimes at the end of the night, I just pour all these things together because I don't want to pour them. Sometimes I might pour them back into the bottle, but most of the time I don't do that because there's not enough left. Tonight, I'm not getting rid of that. I'm going to finish that glass tonight because that's so good. So let's move on now to the brandy finish. Now, this one is a significantly higher proof. Last one was 94. This one is 113. Okay, so 56.5% ABV. Another 10-year-old, presumably MGP bourbon, finished in American brandy barrels from Copper and Kings. I know that the brandy finish that I have back there from Copper and Kings and Bardstown Bourbon Company is phenomenal. Top 3 finishes they've done, maybe top 5. They do so many good ones, I guess. But this one is just a little bit younger. The base bourbon's only 10 years old instead of 11. So we'll see what other differences there are. And maybe I'll do a side-by-side comparison of those actually tonight because I think that might be interesting. DC says, what are you saying, DC? What is it called again? If you're talking about this bottle, Muscat Mistel finish. Oh, what is the brand? DC, these are Bardstown Bourbon Company. These are old Bardstown Bourbon Company bottles from the very early days of the company when they were just purely sourcing and finishing back in 2017. Peter says, if you want sweat, I don't want sweat, but I do want sweet. Try Lot 40 Rye Dark Oak. Is that a port? That sounds like a port finish to me. Too sweet for me. So this one has definitely got some more ethanol on the nose, even at 10 years old. But it's a much darker kind of dry fruit profile as opposed to the sweetness from the previous. Yeah. This one, dried kind of like prune fig type notes. Really kind of floral, really herbal and spicy. Kind of black cherry. All right, signature MGP sweet, semi-funky oak. Let's go to the palate. Oh yeah, that's kind of aggressive in a really good way. Oof, And when it rounds the bend, rounds the corner kind of on the mid palate, it just bursts with sweetness. It's just a fruit explosion. Dark fruit, dry, a combination of really dry dark fruits and then really juicy red fruits kind of working together on the palate. Yeah. And the finish, I mean, the finish is probably not even close to being done here. It's just continuing to come in waves, kind of in the back of the palate, into the throat. Damn. All right. So I definitely have to do a side-by-side with this and the current apple brandy finish. This says American brandy barrels. The other one says apple brandy. I'm assuming that this is not apple brandy when it says American brandy, but who knows? Yeah. Not a lot of info again on this bottle either. Awesome. So guys, let me know if if any of you have had any of these bottles. I'd be curious to know your thoughts. I am such a Bardstown Bourbon Company nut, and they just released, or rather they just announced that they're going to be releasing a new collaborative series. It's a 10-year Tennessee bourbon. We have to assume George Dickel, finished in Founders KBS barrels. Now I love Founders. KBS kind of got me in. Actually, Breakfast Stout really got me into drinking stouts. Then KBS, then CBS, and then they did the fudge version of KBS. You know, they'd have done all sorts of stuff. But I have a lot of KBS in my basement, you know, kind of cellared away. It's good stuff. So even though there's Tennessee whiskey in there, I think it could still be really good based on that pairing. I think, you know, you're thinking about the profile of Dickel or of a Tennessee whiskey going into a stout barrel. Seems like it could be a good combination, but I don't know. I don't know. All right. Let me grab the apple brandy finish real quick. You can see I'm in my pajama pants. I'm ready for bed. As soon as the stream's done, I clean up and I pass out. All right. Whew. So apple brandy finish, pretty comparable on proof. Oh, something. The hell is that? I don't know if that was something in the bottle or just kind of on the cap. There's something gigantic in my glass that just came out of that. Or maybe it's just like a little fuzzy. I don't know. Let me try to get it. Now I'm putting my fingers in my whiskey. All right. I'm probably not going to get this. That's okay. That's okay. All right. Just be sure not to drink whatever that is. So this is 120.4 proof, the apple brandy finish, and the base whiskey, like I said, I believe it is 11 years old. Yep, 11-year Indiana bourbon, released about 2 years after the American brandy finish. So let's see how these things compare. So this is the American brandy, 113 proof. All right, and then on to the apple brandy. Huh. The American brandy finish, the old school finish, actually has on the nose a little bit of a like richer, fruitier profile overall. Actually, just got a little bit of a grain, a little grain note, corn grain, kind of like roasted, like street corn almost on the old school bottle, which I didn't get before. Yeah. Now on to the new one. Newer. Yeah, crawls up your nose. And the apple quality is not immediately apparent. It's not like overtly apple. So, I don't know, for what it's worth. Quick sip of the old one again. God, that's so good. So fruity. All right, and now on to the apple brandy. Well, whatever was in there, I swallowed it, and I didn't mean to. He was a giant fuzzy. That's okay, though. Yeah, that one is distinctly... The apple brandy finish is distinctly more floral. Like, yes, there is the apple brandy quality to it. You do get some of that apple character, but it's in the context of MGP bourbon. So MGP is all of those really dark fruits, you know, cherry, grape, plum, like that kind of a thing. You also tend to get a little perfumed vibe from that, some sweet oaks, a nice little bit of herbaceousness from the rye spice, some good black pepper. Like that's what I know MGP bourbon as at this age. And then this just adds onto it a little dimension of this sweet apple character that's not like too in your face. But what this draws out is a ton of the floral notes, actually, the apple brandy. Whereas I feel like the American brandy just added even more fruit to the equation and didn't go more in that floral direction. Yeah, someone's saying, I'm going to cough up a hairball. I know. I know, right? Yeah, just a little black, like, piece of fuzz or something. I don't know how it got in there, but... DC, snagged an apple brandy finish early on after ADHD told me it was his favorite. Yeah, dude, it's so good. I wish, you know, getting MGP bourbon nowadays, that's tough. But here's the thing. Nancy Fraley, and we're going to move on to the cigar blends here in a bit. Nancy Fraley has taken Kentucky whiskey, wherever it's from. I think it's from Heaven Hill, but I don't know that. It could be from a lot of places. But she's taken this Kentucky whiskey and blended it in with the MGP and finished it and has amazing results with those finishes. So I feel like Bardstown Bourbon Company could do the same freaking thing and go back and continue doing these apple brandy, Armagnac, like these other finishes they've done that have been such big hits. I just think we need to see more of it. I don't know that the casks would necessarily be in short supply from Copper and Kings. Maybe they are. Maybe it's really expensive. I don't know, but I'd love to see, even if they put Kentucky whiskey in with whatever MGP they have left, if they have any left, you know, I'd love to see that happen. Blake, when you send me a box, I've got one left, man. I have one backup. Come on. And honestly, Matt, ADHD whiskey called it first. So, you know, you'll have to fight with him. If I get rid of it, it's got to go to Matt, you know? It's got to go to Matt. Either way, guys, these old bottles are amazing. The Muscat Mistel is, yeah, what is this stuff? This is incredible. There's like dark chocolate in here too. Wow. What a crazy ass whiskey. All right, so if you're here right now, we're gonna keep this moving, go on to some new bottles. But hit that like button very quickly. And as the thing is showing you down there, every $5 super chat is an entry to tonight's giveaway. And the giveaway for this evening is 1 ounce of 8 different pours. These are included. So the Muscat Mistel finish, the American brandy finish, Old School Bardstown Bourbon Company. Those are 2 of the 8. Here's another 2 of the 8, 2 different batches of cigar blend. And then 2 Penelope Rosé finishes, the different batches, Midwinter Nights Dram. And finally, the Brain Candy pick of 26-year-old Canadian whiskey. So it's an epic flight. Throw those super chats in for the giveaway, and I'm going to draw for that in about an hour. Zachary Jones says, that hair is looking immaculate. Thank you. It needs cut, but thank you. Okay. David Babcock, sorry I missed this. Just open a Buffalo Trace store pick. Oregon stores just got Eagle Rare, 1792. And Buffalo, so they got a bunch of Sazerac picks, and they're disappearing just as fast as they came in, of course. They've all been really good. Buffalo Trace store picks, on secondary locally are $50. Look, I'll buy those at $50 because a lot of those Buffalo Trace picks are fantastic. And then the Eagle Rare picks, those are usually 75, which is kind of a lot. I like Eagle Rare picks as kind of that daily drinker type thing. So, you know, people like to hate on Buffalo Trace products, but those are two of my favorites if you can get store picks. Oh, let's get this bot out of here. Blake says, I'm calling it now. The CBS is going to be a chocolate-covered orange bomb. Oh, the KBS finished Bardstown Bourbon Company. I think you're spot on. There's going to be a little nuttiness in it too, I think. Yeah. All right, let me get these bottles cleaned up. Good Lord. Bot destroyed. Who said that? JG? All right. Someone remind me to drink water tonight, please. I've got a 10 a.m. meeting, which is not that early, right? But got to get stuff done before that. Well before that. So remind me to drink water, please. All right. Isaiah Van Buren. Hi, Cam. I'm also a percussionist that loves whiskey. Really dig the content. Isaiah, your name sounds really familiar. So I feel if we're not like Facebook friends or Instagram kind of following each other, I'd be surprised because your name sounds so ridiculously familiar. And if we have met, I do apologize. I'm just terrible with names, especially being 2 years away from any touring that I've done. So thanks for being here. Thanks for jumping in. And it's awesome to see another percussionist in the chat. Drink water, drink bourbon, says DC. Blake, super flight tonight. Yeah, thank you for the super chat, Blake. It's a crazy flight. It really is. So, and I'll do another one too. If we get a bunch of super chats in, I'll do another one as well. Anyways, okay, what are we going on to? What are we going to do next? Let's not do cigar blend. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. We're going to get to cigar blend in a second. We're going to get to the paint thinner, 26-year-old paint thinner in a second, which I can't wait to drink. But guys, I haven't really talked about this so far on this live stream. And this is kind of, I might be the most excited. I mean, look, I was excited for the Bardstown bottles. Come on. But this might be one of the most exciting parts of tonight, even over the cigar blend for me. And you might be wondering what these scotchy looking tubes are. And I know not everybody here lives in Ohio, and so this might not mean a lot to some of you, but I hope you will hang out still in the chat right now. I know like time is going to go on at 9. I would say probably at about 9:30, I'll get to the cigar blends and I will get to the brain candy. But I want to taste these 3 finished Central Ohio whiskeys from my favorite distillery in Central Ohio, which is Middle West Spirits. All right. Number 1, the presentation looks immaculate. Number 2, these are very high age statements for a local craft distillery. 3, the finishes are interesting with the pairings of the whiskeys they've chosen. And 4, these are not my bottles. So I want to say thank you to my friend Frank here in Columbus. Frank has taught me a lot about tasting whiskey. We get together and we taste every couple of months. It's been great to get to know him, and we share samples, we share pours. We have a really good hang when we get together. And he offered up his cask strength single barrel versions of these, which are not cheap. He hasn't even opened these, so I'm going to open them tonight on the live stream. I'm going to talk through each one of these. God, those look so good, don't they? On the screen, I'm just the blue, green, and black. Just looks so good. But what we have here, this is a 6-year age-stated cask strength sherry finished bourbon, and it is a 4-grain bourbon that they make. from Middle West Spirits. Many of you in the chat that have won flights from me or I've sent samples to, I've sent Middle West single barrel cask strength picks to you, and 99% of people write me back and say, oh my God, that's so good. They are so good. And so they've finished all of them. So that's the 4-grain bourbon. This is the rye whiskey, the dark pumpernickel rye, 5-year age stated, finished in port pipes. Okay, so that's amazing. And finally, they have a wheat whiskey that they've finished in Oloroso sherry casks, 5-year age stated. Just ridiculous. All these proofs are right around 120 on all of them. So I'm going to taste through these very quickly, get a first impression. That's kind of the plan right now. These are not going to be in tonight's giveaway because they're not my bottles. So I'm not going to pour out 1-ounce samples in the flights to give away because these are not my bottles. But there could be a single barrel pick in the future for Drums and Drams Patreon supporters. I don't know how soon that would be, but I've talked to Middle West about this and they seem interested in doing a ported pumpernickel rye single barrel cask strength pick. So that's kind of exciting, at least. Let's see. Blake loves Middle West. Isaiah says, yeah, they look sick. Jared says, I grabbed the rye and bourbon myself, which I could have afforded all three. I know these are, I think they're like, what, 110, 120 for the cask strengths? I mean, the whole set is like 380 or something like that after tax. It is not cheap. Dave R says, cheers. Thank you, man. Cheers to you as well. Thanks for getting in on the giveaway and supporting the channel. And DC with the $15 super chat. That's awesome. Thank you, DC. I am in. Tip your host too. Thank you, DC. I appreciate it, man. Isaiah says, I'm in New York too and have met up with MJB a couple times, so it's possible. Oh, cool. MJB is Michael Burrett. That's my former teacher when I went to school in New York, for those of you who might wonder what that means. Okay, let's get into these guys. So my favorite of these bottles, the non-finished version, is definitely the rye, but I'm going to be curious to see how these finishes affected these. Holy, look at these bottles. Oh my God. This is some fancy stuff. Frank, if you're watching, man, holy crap, they've got ribbons on them. Wow. Okay. Damn. Middle West is doing it right, huh? Okay, so bottle design gets a 10 out of 10. The liquid is crazy dark on all of these. They age in smaller barrels typically, at least for the first maturation here. I don't know about for the finishing. The finishing, I would imagine, is not in smaller barrels, but who knows? Wow. Okay. Beautiful. I mean, you're definitely paying for the packaging a little bit, but that's okay if it looks like this. Dude, that's what I'm saying, Trev. Marketing 10 out of 10. Wow. Okay, guys. And some of these are still left in the bottle shop from what I understand. I've been seeing Rudra is the guy that kind of works there and does a lot of the marketing. He's been posting and saying they have some left in the bottle shop. I might have to go over there, depending on how this tasting goes, and buy these because they look phenomenal. Okay, well, we're going to start with the wheat whiskey. All right, wheat whiskey. It is distilled from soft red winter wheat and barley. So that's what we've got here. No mash bill. It's the Oloroso finish, 121 proof. Damn. And it says this is aged for several years in lightly toasted white oak barrels, where it develops hints of vanilla, nutmeg, and cinnamon, then transferred to sun-drenched Oloroso sherry casks, where it acquires rich notes of black cherry, dark chocolate, and raisins. I love those tasting notes. When you raise a glass with friends, let them know it's proudly from the Middle West. Okay. All right. There we go. Not the... I mean, this is fine. Getting this open looks like it might not be the easiest. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll learn after this first one the best way to open these. There we go. That is sexy. I try not to take off any of the neck stuff on the bottle if I don't have to, but this looks like it's all made to come off. So All right. America. So I'm going to pour all of these up front so they can all get a little bit of air. And I think not only with a first pour, but also with finished whiskeys, a little bit of air does them, you know, a lot of good. And so let's go ahead and do that first. So I will open and pour all of these. Let me get the tubes out of the way. They're beautiful, but kind of unnecessary right now. And I need to be cognizant of how much space I have on this table. All right. So first is the wheat whiskey. Let's see. Peter says Balvenie bottles with Cavalon ribbons. Right. Why Wishkin says would be cool if you and Drew did a co-stream instead of battling. Is that Drew P, you mean? I don't know that we battled. We actually did a co-stream, I think, on his channel. I can't remember what we talked about. It was a topical stream, but we've done it, but I'd love to do it again. Particularly with some of the single barrels that he's been picking. Yeah. Okay. Mark Royland says, cheers, Cam. Awesome looking bottles. Do you know if Middle West distributes to Minnesota? I don't know, Mark, but if you ever need anything from them, just shoot me a message. I'm happy to not only send you samples to see what you like, but also, you know, if you want to get some of these bottles, I can hook you up. Oh, Daniel P says, cheers, man. Venmo'd you $10. Google doesn't need a cut. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Amy, please put Daniel P in. Oh, you got it. I clicked on it and I didn't even read what I clicked on. You got it. Amy's so ahead of it. Amazing. All right. Oh, he's always streaming at the same time. That's what people are kind of talking about. I see. Yeah, we the last time I did a collab with Drew, I believe I just jumped off. I only did a 1 hour stream, I think is how I did it. So, all right, let me get these open. Let me stop fussing around. Okay. One more. Now, guys, this final one, this is the 4-grain bourbon, 6 years old. So I think the oldest of the bunch. This actually has a sticker on it. So this must be a group pick. Yeah. This is gotta be a group pick, which is cool. So we've got an individually picked barrel as well as stuff that the distillery has bottled themselves, which is awesome. Oh, cool. Okay. Let me get these poured. I've said that 5 times at this point. I'm sorry. Look at the color on that. Wow. Incredible color on all of these whiskeys. Let me coat the glasses while they get some air. And then we'll get to the wheat whiskey first. I think I might need a little more of this whiskey. No, that's enough. That's fine. Okay. I got a couple of super chats here. Thank you guys for the super chats. Much appreciated. Matt Poulos says, cheers, Cam. Matt, that's a name I haven't seen in a long time. Amazing. Have been able to catch the last couple of live streams. That's one hell of a sample flight. Count me in. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And guys, this wouldn't mean anything to anybody else. Hashtag Glock, but there we go. Bo Tillman, what's up, Cam? Whiskey Tube's glad to have you back. It's good to be back. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jared, I believe this is a pick, but there's no name of a group on the sticker. But they have offered up to me a ported pumpernickel rye pick. So at least kind of loosely offered it up. And I told them to put my name down for it. So, yeah. All right. Let's get into the 5-year, 121 proof wheat whiskey with the Oloroso sherry finish. That is dark chocolate all the way. It's intense on the nose. You know, I think a lot of wheat whiskeys can kind of get this way. High octane. Definitely smells every bit of its proof. Oh. Wow. The fruit notes here are extremely present, but they're not the darkest and richest fruit notes necessarily. And at only 5 years old, with a wheat whiskey in particular, I wouldn't expect them to be. But it's a really interesting combination of things. And the dark chocolate is what I'm really picking up on immediately. As well as almost like a combination of a floral thing and a dusty wheat funk in here. That's what it is. This has dusty funk on it. And it's a wheat whiskey and it's sherry finished. That's so strange. Wow. There's a quality of this that reminds you of an old Elijah Craig barrel proof. And there's yes, roasted almond, which you absolutely get on an Oloroso sherry cask finish. Let's go to the palate. Cheers, guys. It's a little proofy. Wow. It's a little proofy, and it takes away from the flavors like 10 to 15%. But oh my God. This is, if you love bourbon and you also like Scotch, like a nice Glendronach, a Macallan, sherry cask finished Scotch. I'm not saying that you have to like Scotch to like this, but if you happen to like those kinds of Scotches, in addition to your typical bourbons, your Elijah Craig barrel proofs, this is like a dream. It checks all of the boxes. It actually has kind of the mouthfeel of a Scotch in a way, in the way that it's a little bit syrupy. And that's definitely from the Oloroso cask. Oh. And the flavors are going to appeal to a Scotch drinker in that regard. But on the bourbon American whiskey side of things, the intensity, the way the flavors are so gripping, that's also really nice. And because this is a wheat whiskey, the spice profile and the floral profile are just different than a rye whiskey, or a rye bourbon, I should say. Wow. Damn. I might be going and buying all 3 of these tomorrow. Look, if it only gets better from here, that's going to be really good. And typically the wheat whiskey from Middle West, the unfinished version, that's my least favorite of the 3. So this could be very dangerous for my wallet tomorrow. Paul Graham is in the hot tub with Uncut Unfiltered at $65. Dude, every Thursday? Damn, dude. Paul says, what's your, or Trev says, what's your question? Because it seems like you figured out the key to life. Wignote says, I'm the new Bourbon Saint. You know, Bourbon Saint I didn't ever catch when he was active, which I think is kind of right when I started to get into Whiskey Tube, when he started to fall off a bit. But I've gone back and checked out some of his old videos, and I do enjoy them quite a bit. Young Pei Cheng, what's up? Happy Thursday to you as well. Good to see you here. Oh, Paul says, in the Sierra Nevada, in the snow. That's awesome. I remember, so I did this tour once upon a time. It was a group that you had to audition for. And it was it was a percussion ensemble, a percussion group. And I don't know how many of us there were. There could have been like 12 maybe. And you auditioned for this group all around the world, and it was based in the UK. So it's almost like a pickup group where you send in your tapes and everything. And so they selected all of us, and we flew out and we did like a really intense couple days of rehearsal camp in the UK. And then the method of transport for us on this tour, it's not like we went over to mainland Europe and like got into a tour bus or like a couple of vans and drove around. No, they had figured out with a cruise company to get us like whatever the cruise route was, which was up in the Baltics, like, you know, Northern Europe, that kind of area. They had figured out with those universities that we were going to go play at, that we would take the cruises into those ports, and like 75% of the places that we stopped, we would like hustle into town to the university, set up, play our concert, give our lectures and our clinics, and then get back on the cruise ship and a couple days at sea, and then we would do it again. And it was the craziest experience of my life, like perpetually drunk for like 3 weeks on this cruise ship. And in the meantime, playing gigs with some of the craziest percussionists from all over the world. It was amazing, right? What was my point? Oh, so we were up like towards Sweden, and it was in like early June. So it was 40, 30 at night. And so you're going through these places, and we would always go get in the hot tub in the middle of the night, up in the Norwegian, or not Norwegian, what's that, Scandinavian kind of area. You know, as we would go through, the sun would never go down, and we'd just be in the hot tub hanging out at night. So that's a memory I will always have with me, being in the hot tub when it's freezing cold outside, and on a cruise ship playing gigs. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Anyways, let's move on to the next one here. I'm going to go to the bourbon now, which is a 6-year age-stated bourbon. This is finished. It's called Sherry Cask finished, and it says it's finished in a Spanish Solera sherry cask. So we're not getting a specification here of PX or of Oloroso. So it's just saying a Solera sherry cask finish. This is a 4-grain bourbon, which is kind of the perennial favorite from Middle West for a lot of people. Bogeys and barrels. What are we drinking? We are drinking Middle West whiskey right now. The new finished wheat whiskey, 4-grain bourbon, and dark pumpernickel rye. Whew, this one is really sherry. Really, really sherry. Almost to a fault. It's almost a little bit overfinished on the nose. You're getting a tiny bit too much raisin. It's edging towards that scotchy, too scotchy kind of note. But the leather in here is really nice. So I love leather in whiskey. No matter what kind of whiskey it is, leather is a good note for me. But yeah, a hint of a sulfured note, which I don't dig so much. A little bit sulfured here, but I like the leather. The raisin notes are a little overbearing. Let's go to the palate. Yeah, the sherry has kind of taken over the bourbon on this one. And this is a pick, I would assume. So whoever picked this must have really liked that sherry influence. Or the others might have had even more sherry influence. Who knows? Now, there is a brightness to this on the nose that reminds you of a cask strength scotch. There's a certain kind of ethanol that hits your nose from a cask strength scotch that's different than a cask strength bourbon. That is here. But this is for a scotch lover. This is a little more to that kind of profile. Not my favorite. Yeah, the wheat whiskey either, did better in the Oloroso cask. Maybe the casks were of a higher quality. Maybe they weren't quite as wet. maybe they weren't in there as long. It could be a lot of different factors playing into this, but the wheat whiskey with the Oloroso specific finish is very good. All right, last one of this series before we move on to a Joseph Magnus cigar blend comparison, which I've never done because I've never had two open at once. The last one here is what looks to be the darkest. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. By a long shot. And that is the port-finished Pumpernickel Rye whiskey finished in tawny port casks. Tawny port is my favorite kind of port to finish in. It's not quite as sweet as ruby port. So I am extremely excited for this. The proof here is 120.8, and it is stated at 5 years old. Yeah, this is going to be exciting. Let me know what you guys are sipping in the live chat here. Let me know what you guys have in your glass. I am so ready for this week to be done. I've got to play an opera next week, which is fairly easy, and that's nice. But it's just kind of a long time to sit. Operas are so long, and the rehearsals, just kind of drag on. But it's going to be an easy week in terms of playing responsibilities. And the last couple of weeks have been very tough gigs, playing a lot of really intense music. So I'm happy to have kind of a week to chill out. This week in particular that we're finishing up, I thought I was going to have a lot of time for drums and drams. I ended up having to do a lot of admin work this week, and I apologize. I haven't gotten a new video out since I think last Friday or Saturday with the Sagamore 8-year rye review. King of Kentucky review, I still need to film. That's not great. Ashton generously sent me a bottle of that. I need to get that filmed and get that bottle sent back. I feel really bad about it, as well as a couple of other things that I'm working on. So Jared is sipping exactly what's in my glass right now. That is awesome, Jared. Alphonse says Old Elk Infinity. I have not tried this yet. Everybody I know got a free bottle of this or free sample from Old Elk. My channel went away. I don't have a relationship with them. And I was like, oh man, I'm missing out because the MSRP is expensive on this. So I'm curious to know, do you think it's worth the MSRP on that? Yes, there's a YPC sighting, says Trev. Michter's American. That's a great vanilla forward bourbon, or I should say whiskey, American whiskey, unblended American whiskey. Eric Staprofio is sipping through a couple of BT store picks, followed by an ER store pick. Again, if you find them at MSRP, buy every single one. If you have to pay secondary, it's still not a bad price at $50 and $75. Blake says yes for the Infinity Blend. Really? Trev, Old Elk must have lost my contact info. Everybody got this like beautifully packaged thing from them. And I was like, oh man, I need to bring the channel back. Rare breed, still Oskin Cask earlier. I need to revisit that, but I love that bottle. All right. Port finished, dark pumpernickel rye. Got to water up real quick. Let's get to it. Eric Saprofia says MSRP all the way. Awesome. Those are good finds then. Whew. Yeah. The wheat whiskey did very well. Whew. After drinking water, my palate typically is like my nose and palate need a second after I drink water before I can really start picking out notes. Maybe it just sounds like I'm making excuses. So let me have a sip of this pumpernickel rye port finish, and then we'll go back to the nose. I'm going to have to do one more sip of that. because it felt like it went a little flat from the finish. It felt like the finish might have been a little too much on the port there. So I need one more sip to see if I'm crazy or if that was just the fact that I just had a bunch of water, and coated my palate with water, basically. Daniel P. Been hard to watch these videos. Tried dry January for the first time. So far, so good. Grease would give you a lot of crap for that. I don't know if you've seen Grease's Facebook post about dry January. It's hilarious. Yeah, it is good to have dry periods, Aiden. I basically took a month off in November, more or less. Most of that was because of COVID, but I was trying to take it easy anyways. And look, you clear up a little bit. If you're drinking every day, which I've gone through periods of every day, at this point, I try to do 4 to 5 times a week at most, which is tough with trying to record videos and do live streams. You have to time everything out. You have to actually kind of plan and think about it. But your mind clears up a lot. It really does. So I like doing it. Anyways. Trev, I'll have a dry period for a long time once I'm dead. Bo, if you if you want to pay MSRP and then pay shipping, like I'm happy to get you one, because from what I can tell, they are all over Ohio right now, kind of sitting on the shelf, but I don't think they've gone anywhere. If they have, then I apologize. But if you want, I could ship it to you at cost and shipping, All right, so back to the port finish. I'm actually getting a little bit more nuttiness in this than I would have expected. Yeah. I mean, again, this is one of those where it feels like the ethanol is kind of taking the whiskey over just a bit. Let me do a side-by-side with the wheat whiskey. It's definitely a rye. Like you're getting all of that spice. You're getting almost like an espresso kind of note. Yeah. Black cherry and plum type qualities. But it's still pie crust, a little nuttiness. I can't figure out kind of what that particular kind of nut is in here, but it just feels a little bit hot to me. I might throw some water in it here in a sec. It's good on the palate, though. Let me do a little water, and then we're going to wrap this up and go on to the cigar blends. Yeah. Okay. Getting into the back of the palate, into the finish, that's where this port finished rye really is shining for me. That's when it starts to sweeten up. Could be that my palate's shot. I've had a lot of whiskey already this evening. Could be that it could be that it's a neck pour. Not that it's a neck pour, but just that the bottle hasn't had any air in it is what I mean. Could be a lot of factors. Yeah, I think the water on the nose is helping this round out quite a bit. Still, there's a dryness to this. There was it was really dry on the sherry finished bourbon, like crazy dry in the back palate. I did not like that at all. This still has some of that dryness, but damn, the wheat whiskey is winning right now. This actually smells a little bit like cork almost. It smells not like these corks. No, not like these corks. These are kind of those really white corks, but something like this. Like they're really, I don't know what the difference is in the cork, but the heavy corks from Bardstown Bourbon Company that are a little bit darker and you can see are a much kind of finer compressed cork. That smell, that's what the ported rye smells like. Yeah. I don't know. I want to like it, but it's just okay. Definitely number 2 out of the bunch, though, and the bourbon's coming in dead last. I mean, the mouth feels great. Yeah. I'll be curious as this bottle sits for the next few days before I do my review, as I approach it with a fresh palate, not having so much whiskey as I've had tonight, what I think of it. But right now, wheat whiskey wins, then rye is next, and the bourbon, the 4-grain bourbon, is very much in last place. So, Frank, if you're watching the replay, thank you for lending me these bottles, man, allowing me to pop them on camera. They're beautiful bottles. The presentation's incredible. I know you put a lot of money into this, and I'm excited to see what you think about them. And, you know, what I come away with after I taste these with a fresh palate, because I've had a little bit too much tonight to really get into the nuance of these. And I think these deserve a lot of attention because they are certainly unique. So, all right. Bogies and barrels, what's distribution on those like? Middle West distributes to a couple of different markets at this point. But I don't think these particular finished whiskeys, and especially these, which are cask strength and I believe single barrels, I don't think these are getting distribution out of Ohio. I don't think. Alphonse Monavon says, I truly believe that bottles need to open up even in Islay Scotches. No, absolutely. It depends on the whiskey. I don't like that as a caveat where you say, oh, it's not good, it just needs to open up. I don't like it when you can kind of qualify a whiskey's flaws by saying that or make excuses for it. I think a whiskey needs to be good out of the bottle. I do believe that. And then if it does get better with air, that's a bonus. Whereas like, oh, I opened this whiskey, you just need to wait 6 months. It's like, okay, I'm happy to wait 6 months. There's enough to drink in the meantime, but I wish it was good out of the bottle. And thank you for the super chat. Also, the $10 super chat. Got to try the wheat one. Hope they make it to Connecticut. I don't know what distribution is like again on the regular Middle West stuff, but the regular bottles might be in Connecticut. I'm not sure, but these I think are Ohio specific. I'm not sure. Yeah, Aiden, I agree. I agree to some degree on this. Like, some people say there is no opening up period, and if there is one, it takes a lot of time and a lot of air to do it. But for me, in my experience, maybe it's just my palate acclimating to a certain whiskey. I think a week or 2 weeks can actually do a lot to some bottles, but maybe it's just my personal palate or yours when you open a bottle, you know? I don't know. Okay. Cool. Let's get these out of the way. Thank you, Frank. Guys, we have about 30 minutes left on the stream. At least that's what I'm planning. Could go later. But we're doing the giveaway tonight. Hit that like button if you haven't already. The giveaway is going to be 8 1-ounce samples of some incredible finished whiskeys that I've been tasting through tonight. None of those Middle West bottles are going to be on there because they're not my bottles. But there will be 2 different batches of Cigar Blend for you to do a comparison. There will be 2 original Bardstown Bourbon Company finished bottles, the American Brandy finish and the Muscat Mistel, which is ridiculously good. Both of them are, but this one is silly. Those will be in the flight, as well as 2 Penelope Rosé cask finishes, batch 2 and batch 3. And then Midwinter Night's Dram Act 9 Scene 4. And finally, the unfinished 26-year-old Hazmat Canadian whiskey from the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. Next up, do I have clean glasses? Okay. Let me grab one more clean glass here so so we can get on with it. Geez, what do I have here? This is the bourbon, and this is okay. Cool. All right, let me grab another clean glass or two. Do I need two? Yes. Right back here at the bar cart. I'm going to use like 14 glasses tonight. Good Lord. Jared, man, thanks for the super chat. While we're on Central Ohio, did you grab the High Bank Midnight Cask? Dude, I missed the release. Oh, I missed the release. And part of me's bummed about it because I actually went back and got batches 1 and 2 of their barrel selects. So I have all 6 of the barrel selects now from them. I don't like Midnight Cask, the regular version. They put too much port wine in that blend, and it's just way too sweet. But the cask strength interests me a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little bummed I missed it. So, I don't know. Aiden got a band suggestion for everybody. If you guys like somewhat psychedelic prog rock and you haven't heard Vola, you're missing out. Okay, interesting. Jared, I got a pour sample for you anytime. Thanks, man. Let's make it happen. Let's have some pours. You know, in the next couple of weeks or something. Let's make something happen, man. It'd be good to see you again. The last hang, you were just like handing me whiskey, dude. You had and you had crazy bottles, and the one that I remember the most, the Dad's Hat Rye, freaking amazing, funky though, and then the single barrel rye from the 4-Gate single barrel rye. I can't remember who picked it. I thought it was crazy to pay $225 or whatever it was for a bottle like that. That rye is ridiculous. So amazing. Let's do it. All right. Let's drink some Cigar Blend. This is maybe the most exciting, one of the most exciting parts of this evening. This is brand new. This one has never been opened. Let's do it. Okay. So, some of you know that I've definitely had cigar blends before. The first one I had was a batch 24, and it was fine. Keith Schmidt sent me a sample of batch 27. These are back in the days of only MGP being in the mix. 27 definitely beat 24, and I still have a little bit of my sample of 27 left. The next one after that, I had many months of not having a cigar blend. I finally decided to pony up and buy one. Again, I got to pay full secondary for these because I never see them in Ohio, so it took me a while to convince myself to get one, and I got batch 58, the highest proof batch, the Darth Vader batch. I love this, and I've mentioned it on a couple of other live streams before. And now that they're including Kentucky whiskey, I was a little skeptical. I'm no longer skeptical because that's phenomenal whiskey, even though it definitely has a Kentucky flavor to it now. It's not just that MGP spice, dark fruit, floral. And this is a batch 61. So a couple batches later, it's a different mother blend or coupe mare that Nancy has put together there. So I'm curious to see what this batch 61 is like. And it's only half a percent less alcohol than batch 58. So they're very close. This will obviously be a neck pour, a fresh crack in this bottle, but we're going to see how these things compare. What the consistency is like. I've never done a true side-by-side of the new cigar blend with the Kentucky whiskey in the mix. I've only done the side-by-side of the old MGP batch 24 and 27. Oh, my God. And both of these, again, will be in tonight's sample giveaway. All right. Cool. right, so batch 58 is on this side, and batch 61 is on this side. So let's get down to it. Let me check the chat. Jared says Mash and Journey pick. That's what that 4-gate rye was. Dude, I wish I would have gotten in on that. I just jumped up to the $50 tier on Mash and Journey on Jason's Patreon because one, I want to support Jason. And two, like, you know, his Patreon has blown up. He's making like $6,500 a month at this point. Like, it just blew up, it looked like. And he's doing they're doing amazing picks. They're getting high quality one, but also big name picks like Old Forester barrel strength and stuff like that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna lock myself into the highest tier in case this becomes, you know, where the top two tiers are not at the top priority list, but it's only the top tier is the first to get those picks. I was like, let's just lock it in, dude, because they're doing such good stuff. And that rye pick, silly. Aiden, Vola released a live version of some of their songs, which is stupid good, and it's fantastic. Had it on repeat. I'm going to have to check it out. Aiden, send me an email so I don't forget. I'm a little deep into it tonight, but I would love to check them out. David, I'm also licking my chops. Alphonse says, believe it or not, the cigar blend is my unicorn. I almost got all the allocated whiskeys, but cannot get a cigar blend to save my life. They're so few and far between. They really are. At $200, you got to buy it. MSRP is like $160 to $180. I feel like at $200, you just got to buy it. You know, it is really worth it. Depending on your financial situation, I feel like 9 times out of 10, it's worth it. All right. Robotic, what a saturated night of whiskey. I know. Just wanted to say hey and show my support. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know there's a lot going on tonight. You know, when I started on Thursday nights, that was like a year and a half ago. And obviously, I took a break and I kind of gave up that momentum that the channel had. But Thursday nights was like the open night. There was not a lot going on. It was me at 8 and Drew P and Clifton from Bourbon Bites at 9. I believe Clifton was at 9. That was it. And now it's just crazy, you know? So, all right. Let's get into these cigar blends. Let's start with the batch I know, even though it's a little bit higher proof, the Darth Vader batch, 58. And let's see what this consistency or non-consistency is like between batches. So 66.17% ABV. So intense on the nose. I did a write-up of this batch 58, on my Patreon. I'm going to go back to it and see what I said. I'm going to pull it up right now. Oh my God, it smells so good though. There it is. I listed like every single tasting note I got in this, which I hate doing that. I don't like to only listing tasting notes. I just went for it in this. All right. Let me read you batch 58's tasting notes that I wrote, okay? Vanilla bean, toasted cornbread, stewed apple, tart juicy raspberry, dark cherries, boozy caramel covered oranges, chili pepper, plum, fig, pipe tobacco, dark chocolate cake, leather espresso, barrel char, and earthiness. And then the oak profile, I said, is simultaneously sweet, earthy, musty, funky, and even a tad bit dry. So that was my written review nosing notes for this batch of cigar blend. Wow. The addition of Kentucky whiskey into the cigar blend to me, helped make it a little bit more traditional to bourbon drinkers. You know, I don't think anybody could have discredited Cigar Blend, but I think some of them could have said, well, you know, it tastes like heavily finished, you know, very fruity whiskey. I think a lot of people could have said that. When you add that old Kentucky whiskey in the mix, it just covers every single base. It really does. Mm. Mm. Yeah, Bo Tillman, 375. I mean, you know, secondary is 350 to get it shipped to your door. That sucks. That really sucks. Wow. So yeah, Cigar Blend Batch 58, to me, it does a great job with the chocolatey Kentucky bourbon notes. Chocolate, oak, vanilla bean, that kind of stuff. And then it takes the Armagnac cask influence and just kind of adds that really fruity dimension. Fantastic. Let's go to batch 61 now. 65.34% ABV. This was 66.17, so very close. There's a little bit more orange marmalade in this batch, as well as a little bit more nuttiness. It seems like almost like cashew, roasted almonds and cashew. I know that's specific. Yeah. And I'm actually getting a little bit of like that apple brandy finish on this batch. It's a little bit more of that apple finish as opposed to batch 58. But a lot of the other qualities are extremely similar between the two. Yeah, and 58's darker. Absolutely darker. Ooh, that's good though. Oh my God. The Armagnac influence in batch 61. I feel like that's got to be the Armagnac and or more MGP in the blend. There's a lot more grape going on in this. Oh my goodness. Grape and leather. Those are the stars of the show on the palate. Wow. I'm telling you, these are so good. It is very neat to kind of taste the differences between the two. Yeah. Like I said, on the nose, more orange marmalade, more of the nuttiness. On the palate, more of the leather, more of the grape. Whereas batch 58 really feels like there's more Kentucky bourbon in the blend to give it the dark chocolate, the espresso, the vanilla cream, vanilla bean. Just overall those darker, more traditional Kentucky notes. Daniel, yeah, every batch from here on out, I think, has it. And I know why you're asking that too, because to have more grape, to have more orange, those kinds of things, seems like it would have more MGP in the blend, or just be an older batch of Cigar Blend, distilled in Indiana and Kentucky on this one. So there is still Kentucky in there. Wow. Jeez. So, guys, so recently I've grabbed a couple of high priced bottles. I grabbed the King of Kentucky after having the King of Kentucky sent to me to do this review. I couldn't help myself, and I picked up a King of Kentucky in a local group. I grabbed a couple of batches of Cigar Blend, this 61, like I've got right now, and then I have another batch on the way. I don't remember which batch it is. It's in the 60s. It's in a different run than this, though, so it could be like 67, maybe, or something like that. It's in a different mother blend than 61. I'm not going to crack that one and do a three-way comparison. I'm just going to leave these two open at this point. But seriously, Magna Cigar Blend, to me, is kind of the epitome of what finished whiskey should be. Nancy Fraley, Nancy Fraley is amazing. It also helps that she's working with 14 to 20-year-old whiskey in a lot of these blends and using what I would assume are high-quality Armagnac casks. And this is not just Armagnac finished. I mean, there's sherry and cognac finishing going on in here as well. At least it says so on the label. I would assume all of the things going into this are of a very high quality, of a high age. They're not cheap. And then you have Nancy Fraley doing the blending. I mean, I don't see a better whiskey at this price point in the market right now that's not Pappy, King of Kentucky, or you have the secondary price that's 10 times the MSRP. This is twice the MSRP. That sucks, but put it in context of what else is on the market and what else is going on. I agree. She's a genius. I have to get her in here for a live stream. I have to, because she's such a badass. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, there has got to be a higher percentage of MGP in batch 61. There has to be. Yeah, without a doubt. And you know what it smells like? Batch 58 smells like you took batch 61, like more grape, all that stuff, and you just took Evan Williams 23 and poured it in batch 61 and added heavy Kentucky influence to it. That's what batch 58 smells like. And batch 61 smells more MGP, like I said. David, dude, the 8-year Sagamore Rye is incredible. And Keith is hooking me up. Keith Schmidt is hooking me up with a backup bottle of it. If you guys see the Sagamore 8-year Rye, buy 2 of them. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Amy says Nancy used to hang out from time to time on Whiskey Tube. She's amazing. Yes, she is. The stream she did with Jason, you can see her personality come out, and she's very much like this. Like, she has so much to say and so much information. It's like when you listen to a podcast and there's a guest on a podcast that's just so dense, so much information there. And, you know, the host has the job of trying to like parse that out and organize the thoughts that are coming out of that guest. To me, I would love to sit down with Nancy Fraley and try to ask the right questions. Try, you know, like that would be a fun conversation, I feel like, for me to have and just like take it all in, take notes, you know? Yeah, it was a cool live stream to see her on there with Jason. Absolutely. I remember I was driving back from somewhere. I don't remember where. It might have been Kentucky or Tennessee, actually. And I was driving back listening to that live stream in my car. What's up, Tom? Cheers, man. Aiden, okay, I'll check those out. I'll check those songs out. Yeah, Nancy's amazing. All right, let's do a little cigar blend of these 2 batches. We're going to let it sit. And in the meantime, I'm going to do my last pour of the evening for this live stream. It's been a lot of tasting. I know. Tonight was going to be a sample tasting night. And at the last minute, I started looking around and I was like, you know what? I want to open these things finally. I want to taste them. So let's just do finished whiskeys tonight. That's basically how this all happened. One whiskey that is not finished, and the only whiskey that's not finished that I'm tasting tonight is this pink sprinkly thing. And when I try to take this lid off, the sprinkles are going to go everywhere, which, damn it, guys, this is my one complaint to Scott and Jason. If you guys ever do another sprinkle-topped whiskey, have them put like a clear coat over it so that the sprinkles don't all come off when you try to take the cap off, all right? Because I like scraped all of the sprinkles off of the bottom part of the wax, like a lot of the sprinkles, but I wanted to leave them on some of it, you know? But they're legit sprinkles that rub off on your hand and go everywhere when you try to pull this cap off. So yeah, the table now has many sprinkles on it. Anyways, this is a 26-year Canadian light whiskey. All right. And the proof is 156.4. Not finished, but it doesn't need to be because it's gasoline. It's paint thinner. But I'm excited to taste it. David Babcock says Black Bourbon Family had a great 2-part with Nancy. That's okay. I need to check that out. Aiden, I would go get it right now, man, because I just have this feeling that somebody's going to put a video out about that and it's going to blow it up and then no one's going to be able to find it. So to me, like, the Sagamore 8-year is the Remus Repeal Reserve of MGP Ryes right now. For some reason, nobody is latching on to Templeton. Probably has to do with the lawsuit from however many years ago and all that kind of crap. People are very much averse to Templeton Rye. Templeton is amazing. It's like Fanta and rye whiskey in a glass. Very orange forward. Black pepper and orange. Whereas the Sagamore is blackberry dark fruits in a glass. So I would go pick one of those up. Jared cracking into the finished Obtainium right now. Look, guys, I'm not a big light whiskey person. I've been buying more of it recently because I want to try to get into it. But I don't think light whiskey was ever intended to be the next big thing. You know, to me, it was intended, or at least has primarily been used as a filler in a blend, which makes a lot of sense. You get proof and you get kind of bright, sweet notes out of it. And it pretty much allows you to make a blend a little bit cheaper. You don't have to put all really old, American bourbons in it. You can just take this 14-year light whiskey and round out 35% of your blend, and it's not that expensive for the barrel. And so then you kind of save a little bit of money and you can put your blend out there. That's the way I look at light whiskey. Some of it that I've had has been better than others, but I've got an Obtainium light whiskey. I've got the Backbone Triple Down light whiskey. I've got this. I've got Penelope that I'm looking for. And so I'm trying to get more into the light whiskey thing. Aiden, Templeton does use additives in some of their younger stuff, but the 10-year single barrel rye does not use additives because they're calling it straight whiskey and everything like that. So you can rest assured on the 10-year rye, and at $80, it's a steal. Buy that. Buy that immediately. Phenomenal whiskey. All right. Let's see what a 156.4 proof 26-year whiskey smells like. Kimberly McKinney says, all of your pours tonight seem interesting. Fingers crossed. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, we're going to draw for that as soon as I'm done with this pour. Thank you, Amy, for keeping track of super chats. I really appreciate it. And guys, for those of you who want to get your super chats in for the giveaway, again, you're getting samples of 2 different cigar blends. This 26-year Hazmat Canadian light whiskey I'm drinking. 2 different batches of Penelope Rosé finish, which is a really cool comparison. And also Midwinter Night's Dram Act 9 Scene 4, plus the OG Bardstown bottles. Each of these goes for like $400 or $500 a piece. If you want to get in on that giveaway, every $5 super chat is one entry. Probably about 10 minutes left on that tops, I would say. Yeah, Aiden, if you have access to get either one of those, you can certainly rest assured that the Sagamore 8 is, is good to go. I don't think the Templeton 10 has any fuckery. Yeah, I tried to think of a different word. I don't think there's any fuckery going on with the Templeton 10 year. I do think there is some of that going on with the Clyde Mays 12 and the 11. And I've talked about that before, but, whatever. Bo Tillman, I would go snag it. I'll pull mine out. It's right back there. I'll pull it out and taste it right now if you guys want. Blake has got it right. The Templeton 10 year is a great value. To me, buy two of them. It's just like Sagamore 8 year. Buy two of them. The Templeton that I've had is more orange forward, whereas the Sagamore is more of a dark fruit character. All right. Let's get into this. Wow. It really is like candy on the nose. So they called this pick brain candy, and the sticker is hilarious. You guys can go, if you want to see a close-up of the sticker, you can just get on my Instagram. I posted some pictures of this. Does it smell like 156 proof? Yes and no. Like, it smells intense, but it's not like you're smelling White Dog. There's a lot of vanilla, a lot of light butterscotch, and light candied caramels. In terms of fruit, I don't know that there's a lot of fruit in this. And with 99% corn, you probably are not going to expect to get a lot of fruit, Yeah, you could convince me there's like pear and green apple in here, but these other vanilla light caramel butterscotch notes, those are really kind of the star of the show. Who said that? Robotic. This is a great point. This is a great point. Yeah, I would imagine that after all the bad press that Templeton got from that, they would get it together. And if they're thinking of doing any other shady stuff, it's probably not going to be right now, And to declare something as a cask, no, I don't think it's cask strength. I don't think that 10 years cask strength. I think it's 104 proof, if I remember. But to declare it a single barrel, which has no legal definition officially, I don't think. But to put it on the bottle, to know that it's MGP, I would trust it. After tasting it, I trust it. Aiden, so you're saying that the Clyde Mays, that say Alabama style, have apples dropped into the barrels. Did you officially read that? Like, did you see it? Is there evidence, or is that just hearsay? Because to me, the way that it tastes like flavoring to me. Tastes like there's a little bit of flavoring in it. I know Alabama style was to put, I think, baked apples into the barrels, back in the old days. But tasting it does not taste like that. It tastes like there's something added. All right. First sip of this dangerous stuff. If I spontaneously combust on camera, please tell my wife I love her. Tell my parents I love them. And the whiskey collection goes to Sarah, and she can sell off what she wants. It's time to drink gasoline, guys. thought I was going to do okay with that. Wow. What a crazy whiskey. Oh my God. Wow. How do you even talk about that? All right. So so when the whiskey hits your palate, it's like, oh, this is not going to be a big deal, you know? And so I just let it sit. I rinsed it a little, but I just kind of let it sit. And then I swallowed it. And it was like drinking fire. And once that, and it took my breath away. And once that subsided, it tastes like the most candied whiskey I've ever had in my life. And I don't know if it's the power of suggestion or not, but the idea of sprinkles makes so much sense. It's like the whiskey leaves a residue in your mouth. That sounds pretty gross, but it leaves this like vanilla kind of artificial sugar. Not artificial sugar. Just like cheap sugar. It leaves this like artificial coating in your mouth. Whoa. Wow. I'm going to have to try another one. I'm going to water this down, but I have to try that 26-year Canadian light whiskey. Wow. The candied quality on the palate, once you get past breathing fire, I've never had anything like this. Like it sits on the palate and it's cool. And then you swallow it and it's still going. And now it's relaxing. Oh, and now it's deliciously sweet. Wow. What a ride. That I have goosebumps for good and bad reasons from this whiskey. 10 a.m. Yeah, I got my meeting at 10 a.m. I've got to do a lot of work before that, though. I need to be getting up at like 5 or 6. So we'll see if that happens. Aiden, I believe they were contracted with Total Wine at the time. I have to say I never know for sure, but if it's bourbon and there's natural flavors, they have to say. Aiden, is that true? Because I think they can add a percentage of flavoring without declaring it. I want to say 2% sounds like a lot, but I want to say there's some number like under 2% and they don't have to declare it. I think that's the case from what I read about it. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's water this down. All right, guys, 2 more minutes on the super chats for tonight's giveaway for the Epic Sample Flight Magnus Cigar Blend, 2 batches, Old School Bardstown, 2 batches with this, which is just ridiculous. 2 Penelope Rosé batches, Midwinter Night's Dram Act 9, Scene 4, and the liquid fire I'm drinking right now. 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to wrap that up, and we'll draw for it. All right, with a little bit of water now. Oh, yeah. It's way more manageable right now on the front and mid palate. it didn't get quite as candy sweet at the same moment that it did before. It was more consistent through the whole. It was consistently sweet through the whole thing. I think maybe I added a touch too much water, and somewhere in between what I added and barrel proof is the right call for this, where you might still get that flood of sweetness on the back of the palate, but just knock off the gasoline fire on the front of the palate. Yeah, DC, it is legit. This is a crazy whiskey. It's going to last me a long time. Like, this is not a whiskey I want to drink every day. And if I drank it every day, there would be a problem. But, you know, I can honestly say no light whiskey I've ever tasted is quite like this. Oh, Mark Royland, one more. What the hell? I'm drinking my cheap Joseph Magnus triple cask. Cheap? That's $100, man. That's not cheap. I've got one of those back there. I really enjoy it. I think I like the Murray. Is it Murray Hill Club? No, Murray Club Hill, which we don't get in Ohio, or at least I've never seen it. I like the Murray Club Hill a little bit better than Magnus Triple Cask. It's a little more traditional. There's a lot of funky oak. And then I have a single barrel Magnus back there, and I just got a backup of the exact same single barrel. Look, I've heard people talk smack about the single barrels from Magnus and say they're a little too tannic. The one I have is very good. It's not the best MGP single barrel, but it's like rumored to be 11 to 12 years old, and I paid $175 for it, which is not that bad for old MGP in the market right now. Robotic, all right. Not because you told me to. Thank you, Robotic. Appreciate it. All right, Amy, let's cut the giveaway now. Let's go ahead and draw for this. So, Amy, let me know what the numbers are like right now. Let me know what the numbers are like, the range, and then we're going to get on with this giveaway. What a night. What a night of finished whiskey. I've been doing, the last live stream was another marathon tasting. And this was a marathon tasting. The next one I do, I need to get a guest on so that I don't have to drink like 12 whiskeys. Although, you know, I feel like with these tastings, I've really been doing small pours and very small sips. And, I'm happy about that. Bo Dillman, I was just typing up a $500. Look, man, if you want to send me $500 super chat, I will send you 2 ounces of everything I'm drinking tonight. You don't have to compete. I'll just send it to you. That's called a transaction, though. Amy, thank you. 1 to 33. All right, 1 to 33. All right, we'll do 2. We'll do 2 winners tonight. Aiden, copied from a press release article in 14. Is the addition. Now, Aiden, this could be a little trickery on their part because I know when Clyde Mays was made, I want to say, was it the late 1800s when Clyde Mays was first produced? I could be completely wrong on the dates. I want to say it was the late 1800s. I believe that that's what they did back then, whenever that was. And they could be cleverly talking about Clyde Mays of that generation instead of today. I don't know. But if they do still add apples, to me, it seems like such a labor-intensive process that they wouldn't do it. If they do it, I'm happy for them, and I'm glad they do. And I'm glad they're not lying. So I don't know. Yeah, it could be bullshit. It could. All right, let's do 2 winners for the giveaway. So here's what I'm going to do. The first winner is going to get everything that I talked about tonight. The second winner, I'll put together. Let me think about what I'm going to give the second winner. It'll be a little different, but still really good. I'll give the second winner Bardstown Chateau de la Baude, apple brandy finish, Ferrand, So those are 3. I will give them batch 61 of Cigar Blend, which I really am enjoying. I will give them Brain Candy. I will give them the American Brandy finished Bardstown. No Muscat Mistel. I have to cap that. That's 6. And what else? I'll pick 2 more. I'll pick 2 more for winner 2. So winner 2 is also going to get 8 1-ounce samples, but no Muscat Mistel. I have to be careful with that. No batch 58 cigar. I could give him the Penelopes. Maybe I'll give him the Penelopes or something like that. We'll see. I'll go Amy. I'll go 1 to 34. Blake. I cut it off officially, but we'll throw you in. We'll throw you in on this 1 to 34. Okay. So Amy, re-randomize if you don't mind. I'm sorry. Re-randomize. Let me know you're good to go, and then I will select 1 through 34, and I'll do 2 different numbers, and no double ups. Which cigar blend do I like better? I don't know that I can pick. The Darth Vader batch is really good, but I am a sucker for old MGP and this Armagnac finish, so like I can't say that it's better than 61. That's the thing. Robotic, that the addition of Molly, Percocet, and glitter in each barrel. Oh, God. That is too funny. That is too funny. All right, Amy, let me know if you're good for 1 through 34, and I'll go ahead and draw for it. You guys are cracking me up. Bo Tillman says, if I knew Scooby-Doo was in the drawing, I would have sent way more super chats. Next time, I have 3 backups of Chateau de la Baude, and I have 2/3 of a bottle left. I'm not a big cigar smoker, so I can't speak to it. I think it would definitely hold up to a cigar, though. To me, cigars overpower whiskey, and maybe that's coming from someone who just doesn't have enough experience with cigars. But they just blow. I have a sensitive palate. They just blow out my palate, and then I can't taste whiskey. So when I'm going to have a cigar once or twice a year, I go for something like barrel proof, crazy intense. Typically, I try to go for a Scotch, like Aberlour, Abuna or Abunad, however you want to say it. I typically go for that, and I drink that with a cigar because it stands up to the cigar. All right, Amy, let's do it. Where's my phone? All right, so we're going to have Siri draw for us 1 through 34, 2 different times. The first winner is the winner of Flight 1. Second winner gets the slightly lesser flight, which is not really lesser. Hey, Siri. Hey, Siri. Oh, come on. Hey, Siri. All right. Okay. Hang on. Hey, Siri. Why doesn't she answer me? Oh, there she is. No. Hey, Siri. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Siri. This robot. Pick a number between 1 to 34. Why isn't she talking? Hey, Siri. Do you guys have any Siri tips? What is happening? Hey, Siri. I'm going to hold on this.
Right. I don't know what that means. If you let.
Pick a number between 1 to 34.
It's 31.
Okay, 31. 31 is the winner of the first flight. Jiminy Christmas. 31. Who was 31, Amy? You know what? I did hold it down and she wouldn't speak out loud. She just gave it to me on the screen and no one would believe me if she didn't say it out loud, you know? So, all right, so 31 is the winner of the epic flight tonight. 31. Who is it, Amy? Paul says Siri is a bitch. Oh, DC is the winner. Congrats, DC. That is awesome. Congrats to DC. And now let's do the second flight, which is going to be just as good. Pick a number between 1 and 34.
It's 34.
34. Siri's into those high numbers tonight. Eric, it is not rigged. I don't know how it could be rigged tonight. 1 to 34. We got 31, and now we have 34. So who is in second place, Amy, with 34? Let me check the chat, guys. Paul Graham, damn. So I owe Paul Graham a package from last week, and so he's going to win flight number 2 from this week. So I'm going to have to make a bigger box for Paul. Epic. That is epic. Congrats to Paul. All right. Cool, guys. Let me write this down so I don't forget. I've had a little bit of whiskey this evening. Winner 1 is DC, and winner 2 is Paul Graham. Paul, you're going to get an epic box coming at you next week, man. Robotic says this contest had additives in it. Boo. Alabama style draw. You guys are cracking me up. All right, I'm gonna sip on this cigar blend. It's probably like 60% 58, 40% 61. Paul says, I never win shit in life. Paul, you win every giveaway I do. So here you go, man. Oh, David, if I have next time I have a box coming to you, if I have any 58 left, I will send you a sample of this. If that's a thing, I'll make it happen. Amy emailed me. Oh, cool. Well, guys, I don't think there's anything left to taste tonight. I don't think. So thank you for those of you who hung out this evening. I know this stream went pretty long. Next week, I'm hoping the channel is going to get some more videos going up. I'm still working on some stuff behind the scenes. Patrons, you're going to see a post come up tomorrow about the Patreon restructure, which is not a big deal at all. It's just making things cheaper, basically. And next week, no live stream on Thursday night. I have a rehearsal conflict. And then the rest of February, back to Thursday night live streams. Patrons, this Sunday, I think it's the 30th, we will have a patron-only live stream for all tiers, okay? So that's going to be a good hang. It's probably going to be drinking samples that you guys have sent. What else? I think that's it, guys. Congratulations, guys. Drums and Drams Trade hooked it up tonight. Thanks, Robotic. And DC, you got a great flight coming. Send me an email, drumsanddrams@gmail.com, DC. I've got Paul's email already. Cool. Sunday is football, says Dave. Oh, I didn't think about that. I scheduled at 4 p.m., so we'll see. Maybe I move the time. I need to look at the times of the games and stuff. I have not been watching football the last 2 years because of COVID. So, Bo Tillman, I'll be back next week. Like I said, glad to have you back. I meant the next week. What's your Patreon? Yeah, just look up Drums and Drams on Patreon. $5, $10, and $15 tiers. It bills you as soon as you sign up. It also bills you the first of the month. So you might want to wait until February 1st to sign up. There will be a giveaway at the end of this month that the $10 could go towards, but don't sign up on the $15 tier. That tier is moving down to $10. And I'm only going to have 2 tiers starting in February, a 5 and a 10. So if you want to do anything, go to the $10 tier, and maybe you wait till February 1st so you don't double pay, unless you really like the channel and you really want to support the channel, you know. So just keep that in mind. 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, says Jared. So maybe I do a really early stream on Sunday. Maybe I do a 1 or a 2 p.m. stream. I might change it. All right. I might change it. Bo Tillman, $10. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. I'm out of here with a little cigar blend. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. And I'll certainly see you on a pre-recorded review before then. Cheers, guys. Have a good rest of your night. And hopefully, your week wraps up well and you have a great weekend. Cheers, and see you soon.